So in the last session, we've understood about internal tables. We've discussed about different types of internal tables that you can define, and we've seen what are the key differences between these three types of tables. There's something called keys for the internal table, so you can have different types of keys. We've seen that a standard table has a default key, whereas a sorted table can have unique or non-unique keys, and hash table can have only unique keys. So based on the key, the difference comes when you're trying to read the data from an internal table. So if your internal table has, let's say, 1 million records, and you're trying to locate one entry in that internal table, then how much time does the system take to scan the internal table and get you the matching record is what differentiates between these three types of tables. And with sorted tables, you also have the advantage of having the key always sorted, and we've also seen that for sorted tables it uses binary search, whereas for hash tables it uses the hash function. At this point, even if you really do not appreciate all these differences, after I complete this topic, we'll be doing one more assignment, and in that assignment we'll try to understand, we'll try to use all of these things to achieve the requirement, and at that time we'll be able to relate better. So there are a couple of more things you need to understand about internal tables. Something to do with the keys. So an internal table can have something called a primary key and a secondary key, and there's another thing called control break statements. So these are some specific statements which you can use within an internal table. When you're processing an internal table using a loop statement, for example, you can use these control break statements to do different things. These are things you need to know about internal tables. So in this session, I'll talk about the keys, primary keys and secondary keys. And in the next video, we'll look at these control break statements. What are the keys for an internal table? We've seen that a database table has a primary key, and the primary key of a database table is always unique. That means you cannot have a second entry in the table with the same key combination, right? So for example, if I open this MAKD table, the primary key of this table consists of MANDT, MATNAR and SPRAS. So these three fields, the combination of these three fields will always be unique in the table. So if I open any entries in the table, to open the table entries, you have to click on that button, black button, and look at the data. Here you can see the material number itself can be repeated n number of times, and the language can also be repeated. For example, you have this 4 here and 4 here, and the client also can be repeated a number of times. Individually, these fields, key fields, can be repeated, but the combination of them will be unique. So you will not have a second entry in this table with the same combination 800, 23 and 4, right? So when we talk about the key, the database table has a primary key, and the primary key of a database table is always unique. You cannot have a second entry with the same key in the table. When it comes to internal tables, we have this additional concept of having unique, defining the key as unique or non-unique. So I'll come to that in a while. Now, what is this key? What is the advantage of this key? The advantage is that whenever you're storing some data in a table, based on the key, the system creates something called an index. Okay, it stores the data in a table, but it also generates another table where it stores the index for the table, and this index contains the entries, right? For example, by default, when you create a database table, the system automatically generates the primary index, and if I click on these indexes, here you can see there are a couple of more indexes. This we call secondary indexes. So for database also, we have these secondary indexes. And if I look at any index, if I double click to open that index, it says it's a non-unique index, and you can also have a unique index. The difference is that if you select a non-unique index, that means the data can be repeated. Multiple things can have the same value. Whereas if you say unique index, then the data cannot be repeated. It should be unique. And they have listed certain fields. So MANDT, SPRAS and MAKD. G. So this index allows you to speed up the read time. So when I look up a table for data, the system has two options. One is it can manually scan each table for each value, each field, and compare them manually to identify the matching record. Or if there is an index available, it can simply look in the index to find a matching record and then go and directly hit the row number of the table to get the data stored in that row, right? It's similar to a book. For example, if you open any book, they have something called index at the end of the book, right? By referring to the index, you can easily locate where a particular word is used in a book, right? Otherwise, you have to read the whole book to identify where that word comes, which is very time consuming because I have to read every word in the book to see till I find the word I'm looking for in the book. Or else I can just go to the back of the book, look at the index, and based on the word, they'll give a page number where I can find that particular word in the book, right? So I can directly go to that page number and see that. So similarly in database also, if you do not have an index, then the system has to scan the whole table for each field and each value to check whether that value is what you're looking for. Otherwise, if it has an index, it can simply look at the index and identify the row in which that particular value is stored, right? So this key basically helps the system to generate an index, and using that index, your lookup time will be faster. So when I'm trying to read some data from this table, the system can access that data much faster if it has an index. So here, by default, this table has MINDT, MATNR, and SPRAS as the key field. So that is the primary key, which is always unique. So when I'm writing a select query, for example, and in the where clause, if I mention these three fields, MINDT, MATNR, SPRAS, even if you ignore MINDT, the system will add that automatically. So in above, we don't use MINDT. But the other two fields, MATNR and SPRAS, if I put a where clause, for example, if I write a select query, something like select star from MAKT into table IT MAKT, where MATNR equals to something and SPRAS equals to something. Okay. When I do this, the system, since there is a key available based on these fields, then the system can use the index, because based on the key, an index is generated automatically for the primary key. So the system, instead of scanning the table manually, it can take advantage of the index to locate these entries in the table wherever these records are matching. Okay. One disadvantage of having too many indexes, because whenever the speed of the program slows down and people start looking at the code and they'll say, okay, this select query is taking too long to execute, the first option they think is, okay, let me go and create an index based on the fields I'm using in my where clause. You can do that. That will improve the performance of your program because the system can now use the index to identify the records. But the disadvantage is that this index has to be regenerated every time you add a record to the table. So every time a new entry is added or an existing record is updated, then the system has to manually regenerate all the indexes. So if you have too many indexes, then that's a drawback, because the system has to spend more time in maintaining these indexes for every record that is being added. So that's why we don't generally recommend having too many indexes for your table, because it may improve the performance of your one program, but overall it will bring down the performance of the system. So we have to be careful when you're creating these indexes. But anyways, so coming back to the topic, the key of the table basically helps in creating an index. Okay. Now, for this table, the primary key is MATNR and SPRAS. So if I, in my where clause, if I say MATNR where MATNR equals something and SPRAS equals something, it can take advantage of the index. But the same fields, if I change the order, if I say instead of writing MATNR equals to something and SPRAS equals something, if I say SPRAS equal to something and MATNR equals something, then the system won't be able to take advantage of the index. So for the system to take advantage or use the index, you need to list the fields in the same order as they are in the index. Only then it can take advantage of that, right? That's why it's important that whenever you are writing your select query, the where clause should be as per the key or as per the index. So if I use these two fields in the same order, then the system can take advantage of that index and get me my data in a much faster way, in a more efficient way. But what if I just want to search by pras? If I say where pras equals something, I will ignore MATNAR. Even then, it won't be able to take advantage of the index. So if you want to, let's say, look up this table based on MAKTG value, okay, or just pras and MAKTG. Since the table key consists of MATNAR and pras, there is only one primary index based on these two fields. But if you are frequently looking up this table using pras and MAKTG field, then the system will manually scan the whole table, right? That's why they have created one secondary index, which we've seen. This index. When we talk about this ABAP dictionary in detail later in the course, we'll be seeing how to create indexes for these tables. So now, since we have a secondary index, I can also search by pras and MAKTG, and it will still use the index because there's an index defined for that. So if I say pras equals to this and MAKTG equals to something, then since there is an index available for this table for these two fields in this order, the system can also use the index to identify the record in the table. Okay, so this database table has primary and secondary keys. So while writing a select query, we can use that. The same concept is also available with internal tables. Internal tables are local to the program. Database tables are something that exists in the database. So whenever we process data from a database table, we typically bring that data into our program and store it in an internal table and then access the data via the internal tables. When we are creating these internal tables, earlier there was only one option where you could define one primary key for the table, and if you are reading that internal table using the primary key, it would use those binary search or hash function if the table type is sorted table or hash table respectively. And if you are reading it by any other field, then the system used to perform a linear search because there is no index available for it to use. So the performance was slow. So what we used to do earlier is when we only had the option of defining the primary key, if I define this, I'll create a structure so that the fields are visible for you here. MATNAR, pras, MAKTG X, okay. Now if I define an internal table, data, IT, MAKT, type, let's say sorted table of T by MAKT with, let's say, unique key MATNAR pras. So if I've defined this internal table like this, I'll also create a one work area for this. If I've defined my internal table like this, which is a sorted table and which is having a unique key MATNAR pras, then when I want to read the data, I'll write a statement something like read table IT MAKT into WMAKT. And if I just say with key MATNAR equals to 100, let's assume there's an entry with 100. If I do this, then the system cannot use that index. Since this is a sorted table, we've seen that it uses something called a binary search, right? For it to perform the binary search, then I need to read the table based on both fields, the complete key of the table. If I simply read it by one field, it cannot perform the binary search. It will perform a linear search. Even though my internal table is sorted, it will still perform a linear search. And that is very slow compared to a binary search. So we are not able to take advantage of the binary search even though my table is sorted table, I'm not able to take advantage of the binary search because when I'm reading, I just want to read by MATNAR. I don't want to read by MATNAR and SPRAS. Okay. What we used to do is to overcome this problem, since SAP only supported primary keys for internal tables, there was no concept of secondary keys. What we used to do is we used to always define the table as standard table, and before reading, what I'll do is I'll sort this table by whatever field I want to read, and then in the read statement I'll add this addition binary search. Now, even though my table is standard table, I'm making it perform like a sorted table by using the binary search. So this is what we used to do. So most of the times we used to use standard tables, and whichever field we want to read by, we used to sort the table by that field and then use the binary search. Binary search won't work if the entries are not sorted by the key you are using to read. Always remember that. If I don't sort my table, then this binary search won't work. It won't get you the data. You should always sort the table if you want to use binary search. That's why sorted tables, the entries are always sorted by key. So that's why you can use the binary search. It can directly perform a binary search. Okay, so this is how we used to write the code. But if I'm able to use the complete key, for example, if this is a sorted table and MATNAR SPRAS have the fields, key fields, then if I say with, instead of with key, instead of using this free key, if I use table key, if I say with table key and give MATNAR and SPRAS then the system will automatically perform the binary search. I don't need to use the binary search because it's a sorted table. It can perform the binary search. And if it is a hash table, and it should have unique key, then it will use the hash function to perform the search. So this is good from a performance point of view, but the only drawback is you are restricted to use the complete key always. You don't have the flexibility to read it by any field you want. You should always read it by the complete key, and that is not practically possible in every scenario. So when you're developing the programs, you will always have a scenario where you want to read by a certain field, not the complete key, right? So to overcome this problem, SAP has introduced something called secondary keys. So the key that you define at the declaration part first is called the primary key of the table, and you can also have different secondary keys. For example, I can have a standard table for the flexibility to store whatever data I want, and standard tables only support non-unique keys. So I'll have this non-unique key, and the default key is non-unique default key, because for standard tables all the fields of the table are the key fields. Then I won't end my statement here. I can continue the statement by saying with, let's say, unique key, sorted key, and give the key name, let's say by language components SPRAS. Okay, if I do my declaration like that, just to make it easily readable, I'm breaking this statement into 2 lines. So here I'm saying is the type standard table of TYMAKT with non-unique default key. That's the default key, primary key for my standard table. Then I'm defining a secondary key by saying with unique sorted key. So this secondary key is a sorted key, which is whose name I'm giving as by language. You can give any name here, and it has component SPRAS. And I can also further, you can have up to 15 secondary keys for one table. But again, remember, every secondary key adds to the performance in a way. For each key, the system has to spend some time in maintaining the administrative information. So the more keys you have, the more time it will take to update these keys whenever you are modifying the data in the internal table. So if you're adding new records or modifying existing records, then all these keys will be regenerated. So the system has to put that extra effort. And it is recommended that if your internal table has less than 50 records, then don't use the secondary keys much. You can use a standard table, and even the linear search will be fast enough. This is only useful if your internal table has more than 50 records, because the administrative cost to maintain these tables, which will be much higher when you have less than 50 records in the table compared to the performance gain you might have in that case, right? So use these things if you have more than 50 records in your internal table. So I've defined one secondary key by language, and I can also define with unique hash key, let's say by material components MATNAR. Okay, I can do that. So I'm using a standard table which by default performs a linear search, and all the fields of the table will be part of the key by default. But I'm expanding that table to use couple of secondary keys. One is by language and the other is by material. For by language, I'm defining a key based on the sparse field, and for by material secondary key, I'm defining the key based on MATNAR. Now, as I said, at this point, you may not appreciate why do we need all these things, and it may look a bit complicated for you as well. But trust me, when we create our next program, after a couple of sessions, we'll be creating a new program as part of the assignment, and we'll be using all of this in that requirement. So at that point, you'll be able to relate things better. Now, I can say with table key, MATNAR equals to, if I simply say it always uses primary key. So I can say with table key by material components MATNAR equals to this. Okay. Now if I do this, what I'm saying is I'm asking the system to use this secondary key by material while reading, and this secondary key I've defined it as hashed key, and I'm using the complete key field for that particular key in my program. So this is giving me the flexibility to read the table by whichever field I want. All I need to do is define a secondary key with those fields that I'm using in the read statement, and the system will take care of maintaining that index and getting me the data I need. Since I defined it as a hashed key, it can use the hash function to get me the data. So this read statement should perform much faster compared to the traditional way of using the linear search or by sorting the table and then using the binary search addition to your read statement. Okay, so like this, now you have more flexibility. How many secondary keys you need, on what fields you need, and depends entirely on how you want to read this internal table. Okay, so if you are reading by MATNAR only, then define a key based on MATNAR. Again, based on whether the field is unique or non-unique, you can define a unique key or a non-unique key. And based on you want to use a sorted key or a hash key, you can do that as well. Okay, but the only drawback is with hash key, you can only have unique entries, whereas sorted key supports both unique and non-unique entries for the key. Okay, so this is your secondary keys. So primary key and secondary key. So in the previous video, we've seen the primary key concept, where while defining the table, with standard tables, you can have only non-unique keys, whereas with sorted tables, you can have unique or non-unique keys, and with hash tables, you can only have unique keys, right? That is something you define while declaring the table. You can expand that declaration by including the secondary keys as well. Okay. Now, just to show you how it really makes a difference, how much performance gain does it make, we can create some test programs and test them. So in one program, I can use the linear search. In another program, I can use the hash function or the binary search and run them. There's a tool called runtime analysis tool. So you can use that tool to execute your programs, and it will tell you the different parameters from a performance point of view. So this runtime analysis tool you can access by using the transaction code SAT. So if I give SAT in the command field, I can run this, but we won't create sample program. Here in this tool, if you click on this tips and tricks, SAP provides few predefined tests that you can run. So if you look at this internal table, if you see this linear search versus binary search. So in this statement, it is performing a linear search, and here they are using this addition binary search. So it performs a binary search. So if I click on this measure runtime, and this tool is really useful for a beginner. If you want to understand from the performance point of view, which is good, then you can use this. So here you can see this linear search took almost 22 microseconds, whereas the binary search with this test data, they have some 1000 entries in this table. It took 0 microsecond. That means it really didn't take any time for it to measure that time. Okay, I'll run it one more time. Now it took 23 microseconds, and this is 0 microseconds, almost nothing, right? So at any given point, you can say binary search is at least 23 times faster than a linear search, right? And similarly, we have some more test cases, secondary indexes. So here, there are no secondary indexes in this example. So it is performing a linear search, whereas in this example, they've defined a secondary index and it is using that index to perform a binary search. Let's see how much time this takes. So again, this took around 12 microseconds, whereas this is almost 0 microseconds, no time at all, right? So like that you can test. So here, how the insert statement performance will vary for a sorted table and a hash table, right? How does it perform when you're sorting a table directly compared to sorting it by a particular field? So you can execute and see which is better. So if you're in doubt about two statements, then you can execute and see. So if you're simply sorting the table, it's taking 68 microseconds. Whereas if you're sorting it by a particular field, it's taking only 12 microseconds to run. Okay, so these are if you look at sorted and hash tables, single read, sorted versus hashed. So this is a sorted table and this is a hash table. Let's see. So the sorted table took 311 microseconds, whereas a hash table took 203 microseconds. Okay, so they are reading based on one field and they are using with table key. So it's a sorted table, so it performs binary search, and here with table key they are using. So since it's a hash table, it will use the hash function. So hash table is faster than a sorted table. Similarly, partial sequential access to your hash table versus sorted table. So here in this case, the hash table took more time than the sorted table. Okay, when you're looping with a where clause. Okay, so like that you can use this tool to execute different tests and understand practically to see which is better. Okay, but at this point as a beginner, I really don't want you to worry too much about performance. As long as you're getting the functionality correct, that should be okay. And once you gain more experience, once you spend more time and understand the intricacies of writing the code, then maybe you can spend time in worrying about performance. Okay, but the key concept is your internal table can have something called a primary key and secondary key. The only advantage of using secondary keys is it will allow you to read the table by any field that you want while taking advantage of either binary search or the hash function. And it's not mandatory that you should always have a secondary key for your table. We only use them where we are dealing with a lot of data, and it really is affecting the performance of our system. I worked on one program that was taking more than an hour to execute, and the users was really complaining that it's taking too long to run, and they wanted me to check if the performance can be improved. And the original programmer who has written the code was using linear search for every table. So he had nested loops. So he was looping a table and looping another table within that, and then reading another table. So he was doing all of that, and he was using linear search to perform all the operations. And I simply changed that to binary search, and the program execution time came down from 1 hour to 4 minutes. So that's the huge difference it makes when you're using. So when we deal with such kind of situations, we prefer defining secondary keys so that you can improve the performance of your applications. But if you are doing normal programs, and if it's hardly taking 1-2 seconds to run, then it really doesn't matter whether you are using secondary keys or not, right? It's not going to make much of a difference, not at least not perceivable difference. Okay, so but as a student, as somebody who's trying to learn programming, you should know these concepts, that when you're defining an internal table, you can have a primary key and a secondary key, and you can have up to 15 secondary keys for your internal table. So the syntax is pretty straightforward. The primary key you define with, unique or non-unique, based on the type of table you are defining, and list the key fields. Similarly, with the secondary keys, you have to say with unique sorted key or unique hashed key, and give the name for your secondary key so that you can refer to it while reading the table, and then use the word components and list the components that should be part of the key, and these fields should be part of your table. You cannot use any name. So these field names that you mention here should exist in your table, internal table. And when reading, the syntax is with table key or with key, the key name that you want to use, the secondary key name that you want to use, and then say components and list the components. Okay, if I want to read it without that, without using the secondary keys, the syntax would be much simpler. I'll say with key or with table key. If I want to use the primary key, I don't have to say I don't have to give the secondary key name, neither I have to use this components keyword, right? I'll simply say with key field name equals to value. Whereas if you want to use the secondary key, then you have to give the name of the secondary key that you have used in the declaration part, and then say components, and then match the components. So if this key consists of MATLAB Express, then I have to list both the fields. Only then it can take advantage of that secondary key. But if it has only one field, then you can just use that single field. Okay, so that's about your primary keys and secondary keys for your internal table. So in the next video, we'll talk about something called control break statements, which should conclude this topic on internal tables. So see you in the next session.